I'm Jorge Huete. I'm former general manager of CESOL. CESOL is the Spanish Welding Association, equivalent, a lot smaller, to the DVS or any other organization involved. I don't know if you have ever heard of the European Welding Federation or the International Institute of Welding. So we all belong to the same as Neil, who's general manager I saw before. So this is supposedly the organizations that are more involved in the technology and the training related guidelines. Then I wanted to share with you a little personal comment. Back in 2011, I was general manager for CESOL, and I had a call from somebody from Huelva saying that they have developed a simulator. So I convinced my president. We traveled all the way down here. And believe it or not, in Spain, same as in the US, some businesses, some entrepreneurs start in garages. The garage where we met them and when we saw the first prototype, believe it or not, was 10 square meters big. There were Basilio and Alejandro together, plus 2 technicians. One of them was sick, if I do not recall well. It was cold as hell, believe it or not. Huelva, normally speaking, has got very good weather. Together with the previous situation where 4 people were starting this, I only can say thank you. It's an amazing job you've done, and I wish you the very best for the future. So, thank you. Now, let's go into the presentation. We're here to talk about contents. Since not all of us have a presentation, official presentation, I thought that maybe the best way to proceed would be if the DVS, even though they have already talked in a way about contents, they give us an approach, exactly how they have developed and also how they see the future with the contents. Then Miller, Jessica can do the same, and I will end up with our approach to the same subject, which is contents at the end and why we are here. So please, DVS.
Thank you. Okay. Hello together. We're very happy to be here today. We would like to give you an impression of what we, DVS Media, have done and why and what we plan for the future. First, who are we? We are the publishing house of the German Welding Society. We have our offices in the same building as the society itself, but we are quite independent in what we do. But we still are very highly connected with what the society does. We publish magazines, we publish books, we publish these wonderful German guidelines we heard about earlier, and we have every kind of activity you can imagine on the publishing sector when it comes to welding in Germany. What we also do is we provide the 320 training centers for welding in Germany with the material they need, training material, PowerPoint presentations, whatever you need for training welders. We are the first contact in Germany for that. So, getting on, I have to get back 3 years. 3 years ago, Anke Richter from Weld Plus came to us and talked to us about a problem. A couple of large training centers in Germany had invested in virtual welding machines, some of them 4 or 5 different systems, but they had a major problem. The technique was not the problem, the technology. It was they weren't able to implement these machines into their education plan. And so they had invested money in something that didn't work for them. And at that point, she needed help finding a way and making it easier to get started with these machines. And on this side, we said, okay, what we can do is we can prepare courses which make it easier to get started and to combine theoretical material with question marks and practical trainings on the simulator, and we can help with the marketing as well. We needed a couple of months, then we had produced 3 courses for metal active gas welding, for manual metal arc welding, and tungsten inert gas welding. And these courses, they are not our standard teaching material we use in the DVS training centers. They are an extract from these materials, and they are destined to make an easy start on the systems and get a theoretical basis for the welders to start practicing with the welding machines. We started with German and English versions because German, of course, but there was, in the first hours, there was a customer from Thailand who was very interested, and so we said, okay, why doing it only in German? We start with English as well. And in the meantime, we developed a French, a Russian, and partly a Korean version of our courses. And I think from our point of view, it was very successful. We have customers worldwide at the moment. I come later to numbers, but we are very impressed in what happened. So we're here together today because I am the guy who can talk about numbers and marketing and plans, but she's the one who can tell you something about what we do exactly and how the training elements of all this are. So please take over.
Am I on the microphone? Can you hear me? Yeah. All right. So he's the money guy, I'm the technology woman. So what we did, we heard a lot today about training the trainer, getting started with the Soldermatic. And what we did is we created a shortcut and a quick start to use the Soldermatic, which is quite simply this. We have courses with overall 7 blocks. Each block contains a short theory introduction, which is a PDF file which can be viewed either on the simulator or in the e-learning platform. And after that come a few multiple choice questions, and then a welding task as in 3 difficulty levels. The welding tasks are basically the same that a beginning welder would do in the workshop. You can see here that we start with a bead plate and then onto a fillet weld. And this shows a bit of the theory. We have the modules of the welding process, then we explain technical basics, how does a transformer work, things like that. Next block, we explain the welding equipment, the torch or the MUG torch, the WIG torch, depending on the course. Then we talk about welding parameters. What does the welder have to adjust? What is a shielding gas, etc. And in the next block, it's filler materials and shielding gases. Then we have, which everybody loves, work safety, but it's important. And last but not least, we talk about joints, seams, and welding positions. To every block, there is a little multiple choice quiz with 4 possible answers. I guess you have all seen how the Soldermatic works with evaluation, and so I won't go into this in detail, that's not necessary. Then we have the welding exercises, which is basically the main piece of our courses. The thing is, every welding exercise has its own welding procedure specification. As you know, I guess many of you have written WPSs, and that's not done in 5 minutes. So what we did, we collaborated with Mr. Moll from GSI. We slightly tortured one of their welding teachers. We put him into the workshop. He welded those tasks. We recorded the time with a stopwatch. We took all the settings, and then we went to the simulator and created this task on the simulator with the parameters that the welding teacher used in the workshop, and then the poor man had to do it all again on the simulator to see if it works out. So we wanted to be quite sure that the tasks we set on the simulator, that they work, and that they can do the same task later in the workshop. And if a student starts a welding task, he will get the WPS, because you all know a welder must be able to read a WPS. So here he can see it, he gets his parameters, and then he clicks on and he gets the task, and he has to weld exactly to these parameters. Now, our tasks, they correspond to a beginner's course in welding. As I said, they go from bead plate to fillet weld to butt weld. So they cover pretty much the range of a beginning welder. Of course, we did put our task in a certain order, but we leave it to the trainer if he wants to go by this order or if he wants to change it all around, because we want to keep it flexible for the situation that is there in the training center. So they are aimed at beginning welders, and we have listed a few advantages. Of course, a lot of this is due to the Soldermatic, but I think the main point is that it offers a shortcut to starting with the simulator in your training center, because you don't have to create your own courses from scratch, but you have a basis from which to build up. As I said, the practical exercises have welding procedure specifications. They can be repeated any number of times, and they increase in difficulty. So we have a quite nice and quick learning progress due to the combination of theory and practice. And now I will give back the power to my colleague Paul, who will tell you a bit about how much these are used.
Coming back to numbers, if you take a look at it, at the numbers of courses which were delivered to customers, then you could say, okay, this is a German thing. But we wonder a little bit why. We have all the languages there, and some customers use them in other countries, but it's mainly German. So I think there are three reasons. The first is our excellent partner, Weld Plus. I think it's such a good cooperation that it's normal for them to offer our courses when they sell a Soldermatic system. The second is Germany is a strong market, so a relatively high share of simulators, I think, go to Germany. The third thing is that the DVS logo and the name that we also use in our courses is of a very high worth in Germany. But maybe in Great Britain, TWI has a much stronger standing than DVS has. So what I'm thinking about at the moment is how can we change this? We would like to, or we would love to cooperate with other welding associations to produce something together. We have experience, we have an expert, we have courses ready, and we could change or adjust them to make them fit for TWI, for whatever country you might imagine, to get this internationally on the machines. I took a look at the customers who bought our units, and back in 3 years ago, I thought it might be the training centers, might be the largest user group, but it's not. It's mainly Daimler and Siemens. They bought the highest numbers of courses, but it's mostly a big industry companies from Germany who are using it, and I think who are very happy to have such material on their systems. A lot of training centers joined as well, especially last year. That might be, one reason might be because there had to be a program by the states making it easier to finance these systems. So I think that brought the rise last year on training centers in our customers. Okay. We produced a brochure where we describe what we do and what we offer, and it's lying outside on the table, and you're happy to take one with you, and maybe it helps you remember what we just showed you. Apart from that, I have to say thank you. And thanks to Weld Plus as well and Seaberry. I think there are some great companies and we love to work together with them.
Thank you, Paul and Susanne, for sharing with us. Now I think it's Jessica's time, in the order we organized, to go ahead and tell us what you think you should.
So from a curriculum standpoint, I don't have a presentation, but we have many associations in the North America that builds curriculum. So first and foremost, Miller Electric does not publish curriculum. We have things that can help an instructor from a theory perspective, but we have some very, very strong associations that work with the customers. Sometimes they're in different industries. So for example, we have one association that is focused on the construction market. What they do is they build their curriculum to what I refer to as American Welding Society standards. In North America, it's called AWS Sense. Those curriculums are built to those standards and to help the welder get certification once they've gone through the curriculum. We have many resources. Something that we find in North America is that over 60% of instructors like to take their own content and build on it. So we have instructors who will take multiple areas of curriculum, similar to getting online learning management systems, and they will build their own content to what they prefer for their students to learn. And that's at the post-secondary level, so that is at the vocation technical level. Where we do have an opportunity, which is more of a plug-and-play, is at the high school level. So when they are at the high school level, instructors may be teaching welding, but then they're also technical instructors for woodworking or automotive. So we provide resources, and those are used to build into what the instructors prefer.
Well, thank you, Jessica. That's all? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I will continue. From my point of view, I'm going to talk to you from the point of view of an association. It's a non-profit organization. So what basically leads us is the wish to have better welders and better trained and at the lowest cost possible. So from CESOL's point of view, back in 2003, Seaberry didn't exist then, we defined and we developed our first simulator based in virtual reality, because it was called RV Sol, Soldadura Sol, and it was a disaster, believe me. But we learned that things were possible, and we thought that things could be done in a way up until we met Seaberry, as I said before. Then we realized that there was a way, and for us, from our point of view, virtual reality was not the right tool, also because of the kind of computers we had in 2003, but also augmented reality was much more efficient for the training of welders. In many other different simulation purposes, it can be different. So what I try to say is that from the very beginning, we were involved also in the idea of getting contents developed. From our scope, it was necessary two things, basically, other than being digital for the modern times. One of them is to have a structure. Without a structure, it was, I mean, people ask you to get to develop a course for me for such and such application. Okay, fine, but there is no purpose, there is no certification at the end. So what we decided is to go into international certification, either because either in the SENSE program, American program, or the international ISO program. All welders are trained the same all over the world, whether we do it deeply or less deep, whether we do it with a different methodology. But at the end, a good welder has to be trained in the same subjects, the same, basically. So, since we belong to the European Welding Federation and the International Institute of Welding, we took as a guidance the guideline that we all, 46 countries, developed, in which there is no contents developed, but there is the guidance for what you should teach in every single level. So IAB 089 is the technical name of this guideline for International European Welder. And we follow that. That means that at the end, over 3 years, with two or three people, depending, we have been developing until the end of 2016 all necessary contents to certify international welders in the levels that you can choose. And we have developed all these courses with another point of view or a key idea in our minds. Working with a computer, I come from the ITs, I'm not from welding, just for you to know. It is difficult to learn if you don't have a methodology. So we decided to go into what we call pills. We were lucky. We could share a lot of this with Sibery, and we were talking about whether the traditional way of training people, big theory, big practice, and you stand alone and start working, was not the right way. So we developed and we thought about it and we developed what we call pills. For each practice, for each next step in the training of a welder, we had a very relatively small theory, relatively small practice, and then a third module or pill that was related to, as you can see with the use of simulators, when there is an error, you've been training, there is an error, the system stops there, tells you the error. We added a third idea, which was from the trainer point of view, which ways you could try to solve this error, not only just showing you the error. So with all that, we have developed all the contents I referred to in Spanish and English. We develop all the WPSs either for ASME or ISO. We develop all because of the international welder requires that, all the processes, TIG, MIG, ARC, all of them. And our goal was to share it, as you said, with other similar organizations. So we went to America, to the US, and I talked to the AWS about, in a way, the North American market was there, it's huge, everybody fits there, but we were more interested into Latin America. Latin America, for us, we speak Spanish, is an area that is working in a different way, and there was nothing in Spanish, modern, and also developed according to the ASME standards. So we were trying to get something done on this way, and the same thing, everywhere. In the last IAW Congress, we were talking to some countries that are willing to implement for the public administration as a standardized system, the international system. And we are now developing, we're now talking to them about possibilities. So, and this is basically the important thing at the end is that all this training won't be, or will be, but at the end of the day, what we want is to certify people according to standards that everybody understands, 9606 or whatever. If you train somebody and you don't give him a job, and jobs are all related to tests that are basically standardized tests. So our goal was that, and this is what I wanted to share with you. I don't have any I mean, I could go into all the details about the more than 2,000 pills that the whole project involved over the 3 years, but I don't think it's necessary. If any of you want to have more information, it is in the website of Sibery, and also you can talk to us anytime you want. Thank you very much.